connection. If this is a 10-minute talk given to people who it's not a specifically Christian context, it doesn't seem to be necessary to make your point.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Good, thanks.
Thinking about Genesis and how we interpret that, and I was just wondering how we're going to take the other parts in Scripture that refer back to Genesis and talk about it as an event that actually happened. How are we going to interpret those either chapters or verses or books, and how is that going to change our perspective on those books, chapters, or verses?
Yeah. Do y'all want to stay? It'll only take about 3 hours. No. So that's a great question, and to poo-poo that question would be crazy. So there are answers to that question, and I would call them developing. There are some approaches that people take and say, "Gosh, that's just not a narrative. It's something different. It's an ancient Near Eastern cosmology that's been adapted for theological purposes," for example. I guess I am less troubled by these concerns than other Christians are. The fact that Paul, thought that Adam was a real person doesn't mean for me, one way or the other, Adam had to be a certain kind of person who lived in a certain place at a certain time. I just don't see that connection. Someone who does, I respect that and say, yeah, I'm not sure what you're going to do. What you ought not do is make stuff up about the science, and that's a nice error to avoid. But once you've avoided that one, it's always okay to say, man, dude, I don't know. But that's a good question. Let's not pretend it's not a question. I'm not sure it's a specific question about theistic evolution. It might just be a specific question about how long history's been going on. But anyway. Right? Okay? All right. Here's someone who hasn't asked a question yet.
You say no one's really critiquing theistic evolution per se.
Oh, not no one. Just it seems rare.
Yeah, but why would anybody have to? If you're on a theistic side or you're on the naturalistic side, you only have to knock down one side of it.
Is the question why people aren't attacking theistic embryology?
No, theistic evolution. Because if you come from a naturalistic side, you don't have to knock down both sides. You only have to knock down the theist side.
I agree. Well, I have a problem with then pretending it's a conversation about theistic evolution. Jerry Coyne starts off by saying we're going to talk about evolution. No, we're not. No, we're not. He's got a different goal. And so let's not pretend that it's all about evolution. That evolution is to get us all riled up, get everyone excited, when what Jerry Coyne really wants to say is, guys, God, you made it up. That's what he wants to say. So I think sometimes the attacks on theistic evolution, they're a nice, convenient target. I'm not sure why. Well, I have some ideas. But the real target is belief. It's belief. So that's what I was getting at there. Carl, I want to hear from you. Okay. Who haven't I? Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering what God's role is in TE then. I guess I'm just a little bit confused about that. Does he start it all? Is he in the process throughout it? Is he not really in it?
Colossians 1:15, in him all things hold together. My answer to that question, but I can't speak for TE. I'm not their spokesperson. My answer is, if the earth is the Lord's and everything in it, if this is his shebang, then it's kind of a weird question. Well, what is he doing? Well, he's doing everything. Maybe we would instead ask, what does he not do? The problem, the question presupposes that random mutation, that must not be God, and I'm not granting that. Well, natural selection, that must not be God. I'm not granting that. I'm not granting that anything isn't God. Do you understand that? So that's all. A theistic evolutionist is always baffled by the question. Well, it presupposes something that I was already not granting. Paul?
Just recommend an interesting article by Heather Lee from King's College. She does a nice job of steering between intelligent design and just randomness. And she talks about purposefulness in evolution. And she does a nice job of looking at it. In fact, she looks at the development of gender differences as both a purposeful plan but also a random process. And it's a really nice, well-done article. I recommend it for anybody's.
That's cool.
What's
That's
the name
not-
of that tension? It's by Heather Loy.
Heather Loy, L-O-O-I. Yeah.
I don't remember where it was. I have copies.
Real recent?
It's about 4 years, 3-4 years old.
Get one to me and I'll circulate it to the random reading group.
Okay. It's nicely done.
Would you say the question of where the image of God comes in is a question against theistic evolution?
No.
You'd say that's against all?
I'll add a paragraph, but no. So I would say, if the image of God has anything to do with the physical world, then theistic embryology would be in just as hot water on the image of God. Because theistic embryology says, start with a zygote, cell division, migration, actin, microtubules, growth factors, poof, college student. I skipped a few steps, but I didn't mean to fill them in with supernatural explanation. And you would say, well, Steve, no, your science is crap. It doesn't tell us about the image of God. And I would probably admit that that's true. And then I would argue, I don't think that's a specific problem with theistic evolution. Again, it's a good question. It belongs in that context, but it doesn't pick out a specific weakness, I don't think, of TE. Hey, let's let people who have to go, and I'll stay. I'm happy to stay and get more suggestions and answer questions, but people I got to go, and it's 4:30, and it's a weekend, man, and we got sun for like 28 hours, and it goes away again. So.
All right, stick around if you have more questions.
Hand me that microphone and all that stuff.
I think who was the atheist?
Jerry Coyne?